So a game that we've been kind of running through the mud as of late on the channel is the next Dragon Age game, the Veilguard. And I saw this article on the Park Place. It's talking about how there's a YouTuber out there called Neon Knight who's played 7 hours of the game in the last week. And he had some interesting things to say about it, describing it as a thin coat of paint and a borderline soft reboot. Now, this game's been kind of getting a little bit of backlash for the top surgery scars and some of the character designs and obvious DEI stuff injected into the game. But I wanted to take a look at this and give it a little bit of, I guess, my thoughts and my opinion, because this was a game that was on my radar. Dragon Age has been around for quite some time. It's a beloved franchise, but I think, once again, like many other franchises that are long-term like this and Tomb Raider, you name it, they fall victim to wokeness because all the people from the past that were successful with the series, that made it something great, are now replaced by a whole bunch of people that want to cater to a modern audience, which is always a red flag. Now, continuing on, this says that Neon Knight claims to have played over 7 hours of Dragon Age and calls it a thin coat of paint, saying with Dragon Age, the Veilguard, there's been a lot of attempts, in my opinion, to convince the general public that this game is something that it really isn't, to convince you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears, what you've been seeing in trailers and previews, and believe that Dragon Age DNA and Veilguard, specifically its gameplay, is anything more than a very thin coat of paint. I think every time I've seen something from it, it just looks generic. Like how Saints Row, the new Saints Row was. You look at it and you could just see that it's woke from the like it's this weird, like, colorful purples, pinks, the way that the characters are made, the design. It's just everything looks the same now, and it's so colorful, but it has no soul. It has no character in it, and it looks like exactly like a thin coat of fucking paint, like pretty stuff on top of a shit fucking Sunday. Right, there's nothing great about it. But continuing on, says, as someone who played the game for about 7 hours a few weeks ago, well, I guess my thesis statement here is that it isn't. A thin coat of paint is more or less exactly what Veilguard has to offer longtime fans, and serious level-headed discussion about this game is completely hampered by what seems to be an almost universal refusal to say that out loud. So I guess these people that develop the game are trying to double down and make it seem like the game is something more than it really is. But when he played for 7 hours, he wasn't impressed. That's not a good sign. I think, in my opinion, that's a bad sign. Now, let's be real here, though. One person's experience of the game might be different than somebody else's. I like to find out for myself if I like something or not. I've seen a little bit of red flags, especially with the top surgery scars here. Now, am I still going to probably check out this game? I'll be honest, maybe. But I'm not going to buy it day one. I'm going to wait and see, and I'm going to see how the game goes, and I think this game's going to flop. I think it's going to go on sale really quickly. But from here, he shared the game will be compared to God of War 2018. He said the game's combat and exploration is full-blown, or at least 85% God of War 2018 worship. This new Dragon Age is all about the action, building up a rage meter to release an ultimate, getting your perfect parries in, shield throws, talismans that activate special abilities, plenty of pots to break and chests to open. You get it. Point is, somebody really liked God of War 2018 and said, why don't we just do that and be done with it? So I guess they're copying formulas from other games. Now, I liked God of War 2018. I like all the God of War games for the most part. But this is Dragon Age. Again, why are franchises that are long-term, beloved by people, changing? Why do they change shit to cater to this modern audience that does not exist? They put top surgery scars. They change character designs, all to cater. It's like you got all these old employees that don't work there anymore. Sorry, we're no longer with the company. Can we help you with something? Franklin Empire. And they're gone. So now all these new people are here. They're modern feminists, activists, wokies, progressives, and they want to inject all this other bullshit and change designs and characters to appeal to a small percentage of people that just don't turn out to support the game anyway. Why? Why don't you focus on your main fan base? That's what I don't understand. Now, continuing the fuck on. It says, he noted the game will also be compared to the Guardians of the Galaxy video game regarding its tone, saying this is the point of the video where some of you recoil in horror and maybe projectile vomit, but it's also the point where at least some of you are probably thinking, hey, those are two not bad at all games. You could do much worse in terms of comparison. And yeah, if you're thinking that, I completely agree. However, he noted these two games are not what Dragon Age fans are expecting a Dragon Age game to be compared to, which is fair. You got to please your fan base. Quit trying to fucking change the wheel. Goes on to say there's no denying that the Dragon Age fan base of just 6 months ago would have torn that imaginary person apart for merely suggesting such a thing, yet ultimately that's the type of game BioWare have made here. Ugh, yuck. Now he goes on to claim that BioWare tried to make a very palatable game here that could appeal to everyone instead of directly targeting their own fan base and hopefully breaking out from the ideal approach, in my opinion, which I think that's a mistake. You can't please everybody. Even with, you know, like, for example, like me with my YouTube content. I can't please everybody. You shouldn't try to do that. Find out who your core fan base is, your demographic, and make stuff for them. I've seen people go, oh, well, all these grifters and white ringers are crying because something's not made for them. It doesn't cater to them. They're not the audience. No, the Dragon Age audience is a fan base that deserves games that are in line with the other previous games, all right? Continuing on, he says, Veilguard as a quippy action adventure is trying pretty hard at times and has its moments. It's just not that a quipped-filled action game is not what most Dragon Age fans were asking for. Next, Neon Knight shared that he was incredibly disappointed when they found out that Veilguard allows you to import a grand total of, wait for it, 0 choices from Origins, 0 choices from Dragon Age 2, and just 3 from Inquisition, the game that Veilguard is a direct sequel to. So now the choices that carry over, you know, in previous games and stuff aren't here, except the ones from Inquisition. Some people like that stuff. They feel that it builds character, it builds lore, and stuff like that. Says the only things from Inquisition that carry over are who your Inquisitor romanced, whether you choose to disband the Inquisition, and whether you chose to stop Solas. So that's it. He said BioWare are doing this very strange with Veilguard. On one hand, it's a direct sequel with a bunch of returning characters and prominent roles, yet on the other, it's a borderline soft reboot trying to minimize every direct tie to the past and attempt to avoid scaring off non-Dragon Age fans. That these decisions take what made Dragon Age stand out and reduce it to its shell itself, which again, you want to please your fan base. You don't want to piss them off and change things. People don't like change, and you can call them crybabies all you fucking want. You can piss and moan that they're crying about stuff that doesn't matter. It does. Later in the video, he described Veilguard as a very linear game, or at least it feels that way 99% of the time, saying, sure, from the Lighthouse base of operations, you could decide what mission you want to do. I don't believe things are all forced in a specific order, but ultimately, once you're doing a mission, which is what you're going to be doing most of the time, you're being funneled down a set path with little offshoots here and there to find some gear or an optional enemy, maybe. Look at these fucking character designs, man. They just look fucking terrible, by the way. So, yeah. This is his thoughts after paying 7 hours of a game that's supposed to be a big banger out here. But honestly, I haven't seen much hype outside of a couple people here or there coping and seething about people hating on this game for the wokeness and the DI that's been injected into it. We'll see what happens. I don't think this game's going to do too good, guys. I think it's going to completely fucking flop. I think a lot of people are going to play it. We're going to see some bad reviews. Of course, all the woke news sites are probably gonna fucking kiss his ass. I don't know. I don't know this Neon Knight guy. I personally have never seen their content. He's claiming he's played 7 hours in. We don't know how true that is. This could be a whole completely fabricated bullshit story. So take that with a grain of salt. But at the end of the day, there's still enough out there that we've seen as far as like trailers go, news updates and things like that, to where there's plenty of red flags here that are making me, at the very least, take a wait-and-see approach to checking out this game. And again, a lot of it is because it seems like these companies are just trying to cater to a modern audience. I mean, you see the comparisons here that it doesn't play like any of the other Dragon Age games in the past. A lot of the stuff doesn't carry over. They want to cater to a new core of audience that's not part of the fandom. I know a lot of people think fandoms are toxic, especially like in Star Wars and stuff like that, but you need to appeal to your core audience. And if you don't, that's where you fail. That's where you get bullshit, because they're more focused on, oh, let's make sure we got DEI in here. Let's make sure we have top surgery scars. Let's make sure we cater to this audience. They're not going to support. We've seen it with Concord, Dustborn. We've seen it. They will not show up. So if they're focused on catering to this audience that isn't their fan base, they're gonna blame gamers when the game fails. They're gonna blame it all on us when this game fails, guys. And that's what's the bullshit. So let me know your thoughts down below, guys. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Subscribe if you can. We're about to hit 93,000 subscribers any fucking second now. I'd love for you guys to hit that sub button. Join the AB Nation. I'll see you on the next one.